Testing 1, 2, 3. Hello, testing 1, 2, 3. This is a test. I think we have audio now. This is a good test here, I think. I see some action on the meters, and the live stream looks like it's doing okay. He says, got it. Hopefully the video will catch up here and not be an issue. I appreciate you sticking by, Scott. Hopefully you can hear me okay. The video still says green, so I think we're doing okay. Sorry to kind of be pensive about this, but I just want to make sure that it's not going to crap out like it did last night. I was messing with some settings with Drew, trying to sort some things out with the graphics, but it seemed like I was also having some major issues with either the camera or the memory. I had to do a check disk, do some memory checks, and checked out the drivers, all the software updates and all that, and thankfully I think we are actually looking pretty good. This is not bad. Alright, we'll have a dram. How about that? Let's see. Let me get something up here that I did not have prepared, and I apologize. I didn't think this was going to work, to be honest with you. I was nervous about even trying it because the check disk took a long time. I didn't think I was going to have time to even try anything, but let's get up the... we're going to look at the Dalmore Cigar Malt. It's 44%. It's the reserve. It's not the old one. Never had the old one. I wish I could try it just to do a comparison. But the Scotch for Dummies were doing that this week, and I thought, well, since I'm doing their after show, might as well take a look at it and see if you know, similar notes. I did not even look at their notes specifically yet, but we'll see if mine are similar. This is got a few casks involved with this. I remember reading specifically, and I might be butchering the pronunciation, but Matusalem Oloroso Sherry, Cabernet Sauvignon wine, and American White Oak, which I believe you could also say the Quercus Alba. I might be wrong with that, but I believe that's the same thing. And the reason I remember that was because there's Lefroy QA cask is from a similar deal. And I'll be looking at the comments as I go along. Thanks a lot, Scott, for the feedback. I appreciate it. And feel free, if I'm saying something incorrect, please correct me either in the live chat or the comments. Comments would be best because I might not be able to get to the live feed after it closes. Drew was trying to help me get the live feed into the actual video itself, which worked out, but when I was trying to get it working yesterday, it wasn't a go, so that's okay. We'll come back to that later. I'm sure I'll get with Drew and try to make some changes down the road, and hopefully it won't mess up like last time. But I haven't tried this. On Dalmore, Dalmore is a very, I don't want to say controversial distillery. I just noticed, even, I mean, I've only been in the hobby for like a year, so I'm very much a new arrival. Right off the bat, I've noticed some people really, really love Dalmore, and some people really, really hate them for some reason. I can only go by my own experience with the distillery, and that's what everyone should do, I think. Just because you hear something tastes horrible, or you think someone thinks that a distillery is overpriced, hey, you should take a look for yourself if you can, especially if you have a whiskey expo or some sort of tasting, a friend giving you a sample. Give it a shot. It's not going to kill you. You hope not, at least. But it's funny, my experience with Dalmore initially was just from the Scotch for Dummies. They had this big rating for the King Alexander bottle, noted as being their only all four across the board highest rated bottle they have. And it was quite a while before I got a chance to try it. In this last Whiskey Expo up in Indianapolis, I was able to go. And the funny thing was, everyone was lining up to get into the expo, and it was exciting. It was my first one. And as soon as I got in the door, when they opened the doors, I noticed that everyone was flocking to Dalmore's booth. It was like a magnet. All these people were just, rushing toward that area. And I'm thinking, well, I better get in line, even if it's not my cup of tea. I got to get a chance to, taste this. And I'm paying extra for the VIP offerings, which with this, with Dalmore, I was able to get the King Alexander, the 18, and I think they might have had another one there that was in that caliber. But ironically, the King Alexander I thought was okay. It was a little sweet for my taste, which is kind of strange because I love sweet drams, especially if it's balanced with peat very well or some other strong flavor. But the Dalmore 18 really stood out as actually my favorite. And I tasted a lot of whiskey. I tasted everything from Glendronach to Bunnahabhain to Glenmorangie, Bruichladdich. You think of it, I've probably tried it. We're talking Black Arts 4, Black Arts 5.1, Octomore 7.1, everything over to your more like the Bunnahabhain, Marcella 13, a lot of Glendronach peated. Just so many whiskeys. But that Dalmore 18, there's something about it that it had just a really well balance of the sweet, the middle, like a savory, had some aspects of like coffee and darker notes and tobacco, and it just is really a good balanced dram. So I'm hoping, since this the cigar malt, is probably in the same realm, the price point I've seen is kind of similar. I think the 18 might be a little more. The King Alexander is the highest. It's usually around $300, $330 American. And Maryland's got some very high prices unless you go to specific counties. I've noticed Montgomery County in my state has really good prices. I'm going to start looking there for some particular drams. But this one I think I've seen for, I want to say $230. I'd do a little more research before I state that as a fact. But of course, prices vary all over the state, so it doesn't really matter what it is here, because I'm sure where you are, it could be completely different. Luckily here, I can get Lagavulin 8 for $55, $60. In a lot of places, it's $70, $80 at a minimum. And the funny thing is, the 16 Lagavulin here is like $90, $100, and I've seen cheaper in other places too, so it's just all over the place. But anyway, I haven't poured this out yet, and I apologize. I wasn't really highly prepared for this. We'll just do a little bit. My friend Lee, I hope you're able to watch this after the fact. If you're not watching live, was able to give me a sample. He's a friend in Virginia. He also was nice enough. Let me pull this. He sent me a Glencairn with my last name's Johnston. My ancestors come from Annandale in Scotland, and hopefully I've heard Annandale's distillery is going to be opening up and getting some new juice out soon. That would be awesome. But thank you so much, Lee, for that Glencairn. That's just awesome. And I didn't put it through the dishwasher. I washed it on my own because I didn't want to mess it up. And I appreciate that. But he was the one that helped me out with this Dalmore. And oh wow. I'm going to go neat. It's 44%. My sweet spot's usually 48. That's my personal wheelhouse. As far as ABV goes, I don't want to really mess with this too much out of the gate. Just to be, covering all the bases. I'm sure I'll add just a little bit, a couple of drops. See if it opens up at all. Wow. You can get sweetness out of there already. Some vanilla, caramel. I even get some cherries, some fruit. Tobacco. I'm not sure if it's subliminal because it's a cigar malt, but I definitely get hints of it's more of a sweet tobacco. I've never tried Turkish tobacco, but I've heard that might be on that kind of end. That's a good nose. Let me bring up the. Oh, hey, Swami, thanks for dropping by. A lot of comments rolling in. Thanks so much, guys, for dropping by here. Just having a go at the Dalmore Cigar Malt, the Reserve 44, not the old one. I would like to give it a try. You definitely get a smoke layer on it. Some oranges with the cherries, too. Not like the fake maraschino stuff, but more of a deep, you know. It's got I'm sure it's got coloring in it, and I think a lot of people knock on Dalmore because of the additive color E150 chill filtering. I'm not sure if this particular one is. I should have did a little more research, and I apologize beforehand. But that sometimes I think knocks them around for that. But it's all about the taste. And if you're watching, and if you're not watching live, if you watch later, please comment. Why is it that that you're not big on Dalmore? I'm just curious. I know everyone's got their reasons. I can see there's a lot of fanboys out there. This is good. Is this Dalmore 18 good? No, but it's got good qualities. I mean, it's definitely on the sweeter end, in my opinion. A lot of fruit going on with those cherries and oranges. Trying to dig out some more, maybe some blueberry. You definitely get the that same slight tobacco note in the back too. It's got a nice finish, I have to say. I'm pleasantly surprised about that. I mean, for the cost you're paying, though, man, my goodness gracious, it's not a cheap dram, and it's so tough that it's got some nice like salted peanuts, cashew kind of thing going on too. It's really good, and it's funny. I used to smoke. I haven't been a smoker since July the 7th of 2012, and I smoked since I was 15. And I'm 42 now, so this has been, pretty good number of years now. But I do miss it, and I do like cigars. I like to go to hockey games. Go Capitals there, Swami. I know you like your Senators. I can't blame you. Back in the day, I'm from Louisville, Kentucky, of all places, originally. And the only hockey team we had was the Ice Hawks. And we would go to the hockey games. We would actually be able to light up a cigar and actually watch the hockey games. It was the only thing missing was the scotch. And I wasn't a scotch drinker back then, but man, I wish I was. It would have been awesome. That's kind of funny how whiskey makes you reminisce about things, anything from being old, younger, or friends, and it's got that quality about it. That's why I love it so much. I think that nose brought me back to that. Sulfur, yeah. You know what's funny, Swami? I'm definitely not disagreeing with you there. I do notice there is a sulfur back, and I think the thing about sulfur is it's one of those dividing. Major divides because a lot of people love peat, don't like it. Same kind of thing with the sulfur or the sherry notes. I'm a huge fan of strong flavors, sherry, peat, and I do like the sulfur. Tell me how you feel about the the Bowmar Darkest 15, I believe it is. Bowmar Darkest 15 was a dram that Andrew, from the Scotch for Dummies was always, big into. And I thought when I was at a nice whiskey, a Scotch bar specifically in Baltimore that had a lot of, choices, I was like, I'm going to try that Bowmar 15 Darkest, see if it's my cup of tea. And the first, nose and the first taste, it was interesting. I'm not sure if I was really into it, but it grew on me. Like, the more I had, the more I was into it, and the more I wanted it. And by the end of the dram, I was like, you know what, that was damn good. But that explains it. No, that was actually Scott that didn't care for the darkest. Malted Swami said he never had it. Well, that one I would actually stay away from because that one has a lot of sulfur, sulfuric qualities in the background, I think. And that's, I think, what people think. They call it the funky note that they get because you do have the peat, you do have the sherry, but you also have a pretty good amount of sulfur in there on that bottle. And it's a love it or hate it kind of Scotch. With the Dalmore, I can see the similarities of that note, that taste to it, but I won't disagree with you about the price, though. The price needs to come down on this whiskey, my friends. I mean, I know it's all about supply and demand, but it's sad with a lot of these prices getting upwards of $350, $400 for a dram of Highland Park Fire or Ice, or like the Dalmore 18 or the Bruichladdich Black Arts 4. I mean, it's a hell of a glass, but I mean, we're getting to some crazy prices across the board, and I'm hoping that this is just a very popular time for whiskey and it'll come down. I know gin is really big right now, so maybe that'll be our savior is that everyone starts drinking gin instead of whiskey for a while. And the prices come back down, but I don't know. I can see why people would love it or hate it, really. So, I mean, you've only heard good things about the darkest. Is that what you're referring to? I'm surprised because I have heard people think it's a little too funky for them, and I think it is the sulfuric qualities, and that's why I was thinking you might want to, have it as a sample or if you're at an expo that has it. I wouldn't go out and shell out $80. I'm not sure what it is up in Canada. It's probably a good. I think your all's money is pretty equivalent to ours right now. It's been a long time since I've seen the exchange rate, but it's probably about 10 at the lowest. Down, so I mean, I'm sure you're still looking at 80 to 90 Canadian dollars, I would estimate, but that's, don't quote me on that. But it's not bad. I mean, it's got some chocolate in the finish too. It is medium to long, in my opinion. It's definitely a nice sipper, but man, I mean, I have to look at the price again. Let's look at. Oh. Scott says he'll get me a sample of the 13 Marcella Cask Buna. Holy moly, dude. Yeah, that would be awesome. I'd love to have that. That's quite a dram. Let me look at the, just as a quickie, let's look at the cigar, the Dalmore Cigar Malt. And I'm going to look local at Potomac Wines. That's a nice store that actually does do delivery from DC, and DC is very lenient on their shipping and their their getting things out countrywide, unless you're in a state, of course, like Maryland, that doesn't have the best delivery options. Looks like they have it for $116.99. I'm surprised. That can't be right. Excuse me, let's look at something real fast. Oh, that's got to be right, yeah. $116.99. They have the Allardyce, the Glendronach 18 for $189.99. Those are some pretty good prices. They got the Glendronach Cask Strength at $159.99. The Kellen 21 at $449.98. That's another distillery that gets a lot of hate or a lot of love, is Macallan. It's kind of interesting how that goes. I've only had the 12, which is kind of sad. And I'm a big sherry fan now. The Abuna, I guess is how you say it, by Abelauer, sorry. That one is the one that got me into sherry. And ever since then, I've been really into a lot of the sherries. I've just started with the Glenmorangie La Santa, and I'm not big on the Glenmorangie 10. I was not a big fan. I wasn't impressed. It's their basic juice, I know, but you would think that would be their core, so anything else with that would not be very good. But I tell you what, I had the La Santa at that expo, and it was good enough for me to go and get a bottle for myself. I found it for $48.99, which is a really good price on it, because I saw it at a different store locally for like $75, and so I definitely went with the 48. But I tell you, it's worth $60-70, I'd say, for 750 milliliters of that. It's a nice sherry bomb, I call it. Let me know what you think about that. If you remember that, Scott and Swami, if you remember the La Santa Glenmorangie. I haven't tried the Quinta Bourbon yet. I've heard that's a really good port. I got to try that next sometime. I'm pretty new to this, as you can tell. But I just love taking my time getting to know the dram. Yeah, I agree, Swami. It is kind of. I mean, the basic 10 was very boring. Was not into it, but I gotta try some other ones like the Glenfiddich. I know a lot of people aren't into it. That 12 I thought was tolerable. The Solera I thought was pretty good. I was lucky enough to have it was a 19-year-old Age of Discovery bourbon cask, and I know some people aren't impressed by it, but for me, it was like having an apple Danish, and a fresh from the oven. It had a little bit of cheese, had the apples, turnover qualities to it. It was intense. I mean, you had to add like apple and pear and cinnamon and that kind of stuff. But if you're into that, man, that was like one of the best drams I've ever had. I gave it a close 5 out of 5. It was like a 4.75. I thought it was pretty good, but Scott said he had that one too. He said it was delicious. Yeah. The Dwar, I'm trying to remember if I've had that one, Swami. That's a tough one. And check out these guys that are nice enough to drop by live. Scotch Test Dummies. Look them up. Scott and Bart, hilarious. Also Malta de Montreal. Swami from Montreal, Quebec. Très bien, mon ami. My French is horrible, so forgive me. I would say much more, but you don't want to hear it. Trust me. I'm lucky enough to speak good, decent English. Hopefully the lighting's okay. I didn't play much with the light, but and I'm glad that the video and the audio has been holding up. That's been awesome. But hopefully I gave you guys enough notes on this guy to really get a good handle on it. It's good. Is it, I gotta go back to that price real fast just to make sure I'm not misquoting. The 117. I mean, I guess it is. I mean, if it's that low, I could have sworn it was higher than that on the price. But is it worth it? To quote the Scotch Test Dummies, I think I might shell out for that. That's a close one. I mean, because the tough thing about it is I tend to measure drams with distilleries I love. Ardbeg is one of them. Lafroy and Lagavulin. Lagavulin they don't take a lot of risks with these extra bottlings. They just have their 8, 12, 16 distillers. But Ardbeg's got a lot of choices, and the Ugadal, one of their core, is one that I measure up a lot of drams to, and it's about $90 on average, I think, here in Maryland. And this one is a little more than that. And would I rather drink this than the Ugadal? That's a tough one. $30 difference. That's the catch. That's what makes it a little more difficult. But yeah, I'm not going to say it's a bad dram. As you can tell, and I might pour the rest of that. Go get you some Kilholmans. Yeah, I hear you there, man. Swami's dead on. You're lucky enough to, I know, have tried the red. I want to say the red wine cask, and I think you've tried the PX cask. And I'm extremely jealous, to be honest with you. The only one I have back here, sadly, is the Loch Gorm. And I was a huge fan from the get-go. At the expo, I was able to get the Snake, I think is how you say it. And that is an awesome, probably my favorite Kilholman is the Snake. I love the Makir Bay. I had that at the expo. The 100% Isla was the only Kilholman bottle that I was not really into, and it's just my palate. It's not a bad whiskey at all. It, I'm sure, is a lot of favorites, and I think Swami might even attest that, you know, it might be one of his favorites. I'm not sure if he had the 100% Isla. Has more floral notes to it. I'm not huge in the floral notes on whiskeys as much as the peat, sherry, or even some of these casks. But you know, if you are into the floral notes, the 100% Isla is definitely got a lot of things going on for it. Trying to think, I'd love to try their new vintage. I think they had an older vintage, 2008. 7. They had a new one recently this year released as well. I'd like to try. They have so many offerings, I tell you. Oh yeah, Swami loves the 100% Island. Yeah, I don't knock you for that. It's definitely got a lot of flavor going on. But everything else I have tried from Kilholman, I am definitely into, and I definitely plan on getting some more, especially adding to my one bottle collection, which is really sad. Same thing with all the Islas, though, man. I got to get a lot more of the Bunnahavens and oh my, Kalila. I haven't really touched other than their 12. I know they have the distillers and some unpeated things, and unpeated Isla makes me a little nervous because that you would think that would be their forte, like their strength. But let me know if you guys have had the Kalila unpeated or any other like notoriously peated Isla whiskeys that are unpeated, and tell me if you thought it was worth your go at it, because that would be something that would be interesting to get into. I never heard of Lafroig doing a unpeated whiskey. I think Lagavulin's done one that I remember seeing about. I know Ardbeg has one called the Kildalton, not the second release, but the first release Kildalton is supposedly unpeated. I'm not sure if that's true, but that's what I heard on a couple occasions. That would be interesting to try. But I've been going to Campbelltown a lot too recently with Springbank. The Kilkerran 12 was a great dram. I'd love to get their works in progress. They got sherries and all sorts of different casks I'd love to try. Is that Kilkerran 12 was dynamite. And of course, Longrow would be awesome to try. I haven't never tried a Longrow before. That's next on my list. And Hazelburn is an unpeated, I've heard. It's worth a try, though. It can't be that bad. Oh, the Bunnahaven unpeated Swami's talking about. Yeah, I'm trying to think of which one are you talking about the standard 12 or a different specific name? If you know the name of it, let me know because I might not be able to remember via the chat, but send me an email or a message in Facebook or something. Let me know what the name of that unpeated Bunnahaven is, because unless it's the 12, I have probably not tried it. I appreciate it. Well, thanks guys for stopping by, and thanks so much, Lee, for the Dalmore Cigar Malt Reserve sample. It was tasty, and I can't wait to try more. I do have a 12 that I can't remember if it was from Scott or another friend of ours, but it's their base. Hopefully I'm not disappointed, but I know with the prices it's interesting sometimes with some of these distilleries, but we'll see. They're all unpeated. Well, Swami, you're correct, but Bunnahaven has a couple peated offerings that you might want to try if you're not familiar with Kjalbanach. It's spelled Ceobanach. That's one I've actually got over here. It's a nice peated Bunnahabhain. I'm not big on the finish, but my friends that have tried it always like it. They think it has enough finish. I like a real strong finish. But it has some smoke, ashtray. It's got some creamsicle kind of qualities to it on the taste, the palate. Nose is outstanding. Probably my favorite thing about it is the nose. Palate's like second, finish is third. They also have the, I want to say it's called a Toichek. It's Toiteach. Look out for that one. That is the other peated Bunnahabhain that they have. I have not tried that yet. It's cheaper than the Kjabenach. But the Kjabenach is like about $85 to $90 American. The Toichek is like about, I want to say $65 to $70, a little cheaper. Haven't tried it. It's on the to-do list, as many other ones are. And of course, the 18 would be awesome to try, but that one's a pricey bottle. And I'm a working man still, so we got to wait for that. But you know how it goes. All in due time. Yeah, check out those Bunnahabhains. The peated stuff is decent, I've heard. I did have the Marsala 13 at the expo, just a taste, and I'm glad, Scott, that you're still sending that, hopefully, if you get a chance, and I'll try to return the favor to you. But I liked it enough to seek out a bottle, and I do have a lead on getting a bottle of it, believe it or not. I've tracked down, using my scouting skills, a way to get that 13 Marsala, I think. I don't want to give it away yet until I get a bottle. If I get a bottle, I will let you know where to get it. Because if they have multiple ones, definitely I'd rather my friends get a hold of it than anybody else. So there you go. It's definitely worth your while if you like Marsala cask, and Bunnahabhain 12 if you like Bunnahabhain 12, and you can picture that with the Marsala cask. You know exactly what you're getting, because that's what it tastes like. So there you go. Well, I won't hold you up. I appreciate you, taking a look at the channel, and try it. I definitely recommend the Dalmore Cigar Malt Reserve. As far as if you can get a tasting of it first, maybe at an expo or a friend, and then taking a gambler. Again, you're gambling the sulfuric notes that Swami was talking about. That's, I think, part of the deal. And also got like the 13 Marsala cask a lot, $70 there. That's not bad. That's a good price. I think it was $84. I want to say at the place that I had it. I think I found it. So your price is better. If they still have any, Scott, let me know, because I might try to order it if they deliver to Maryland. If you're going to go Hazelburn and get the 9 Barolo cask. Barolo. I hope I'm pronouncing that correct. Barolo. All right. Well, it masked you. I guess I have some sort of profanity filter on there, Swami. Sorry about that. I don't mind, because this channel is about whiskey, and if you're under 21 and watching, you shouldn't be really into it anyway. So I'll show your fucking credible comment. We have the Hazelburn 13 Olorosa Cask, delicious. That's from Scott. I'll check the store Telex and see what they have. So, okay, that'd be awesome of you. I appreciate it. Well, I'm so glad that the stream worked, guys. This was awesome. It's been nerve-wracking dealing with blue screen of death messages. I got a brand new Surface Book practically here. It's only, 2 or 3 years old. I got the first iteration of it. Had some initial problems with the damn dock. I would not recommend buying one. Other than trying to run multiple monitors from it, it's been okay. And just dealing with this blue screen of death, it's a page fault error, dealing with memory and all that. It's been kind of crazy. But I'm just glad I got it sorted out after doing a lot of troubleshooting. And, if I'm a tech, I better be able to figure it out, right? And that's what I do for a living with IT. So it kind of comes hand in hand. Well, thanks so much for stopping by, guys. Hope you have a good one, and see you down the road. Looks like the video is a little jumpy. I'll try to work on that. I'm not sure what's causing it. Oh, the video output's low. It's having similar problems than it was before, but it seems like it catches up after a little bit. I'll have to tweak some of the settings. Well, thanks so much, guys. Cheers, Sláinte. I don't have any whiskey left because I drank it all, but cheers. I'll see you guys later.